Saturday, 30th of April, the year 2022, we put President Kibaki to rest today. People have asked me to talk about a number of things today. Certainly top on the list is about Mwai Kibaki. My viewers want to find out whether, as they hear, it is the case that Kibaki was the best president this country has ever had, and whether there are no bad things associated with Kibaki, that they are hearing only good things. Secondly, people have asked me to talk about the 25 billion that has been brought in this country by top politicians. They want to know the impact of such amounts of money in the economy and who is this top politician. I'll talk about that. Finally, because of the limitation of time, I'll talk about what is happening in Azimio, because people want to find out. With some of these parties trying to out Azimio, to leave Azimio, what could be happening and what could be the impact? Let me start with Emilio Mwai Kibaki, Kenya's third president. It is true, people have eulogized Kibaki as a good president. And indeed, he was a good president. People have eulogized Kibaki and say the good things he did: infrastructure, thick highway, free primary education, CDF, and you can go on and on. These are noble deeds and noble things. But people are also wondering whether there are no bad things. I stick to eulogy. And the meaning of eulogy in its Greek origin means good and kind words about a person. I'm old school, I'm traditional, and I believe we don't have to say anything bad about a person. There will be time to talk about the bad things. I've said before, in the words of Mark Antony, in William Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, the evil that men do lives after them. The good is often interred with their bones. So today we lay Kibaki to rest. There will be time to talk about any shortcomings. Specifically, inshallah, God willing, next Saturday, we will look at the good, the bad, and the ugly about Mwai Kibaki. Today, let's just say good things and celebrate his life, put him to his final resting place, and pray to the Almighty to rest his soul in eternal peace and to give his family the fortitude to bear the loss of this great Kenyan.
The Diaspora Times is the sure way to reach the diaspora. You can advertise and link your message to a video or live coverage. We are offering special offers to politicians to advertise and expound their manifesto. Just call +404 966 8550 USA to get a quote. The one and only diaspora newspaper. Can't go wrong.
The second thing people are asking me to talk about is the 25 billion. Who brought this money? Media is saying is a top politician. We can only speculate, but we can do what you call intelligent speculation. We can make some intelligent guess as to who it can be. That means Where our guest rests, that person must come up in order to protect his name and honor and say what he does know about this thing. It's in his own interest to dispel the rumors that it could be him. So by mere elimination, you look at the top politician. Who could this be? This country has 3 top politicians. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, Raila Amolo Odinga, William Samoei Ruto. I know if you are looking about great men, not politicians, Atuoli says he's the 3rd after Uhuru and Raila. But today we are looking at politicians. So by mere elimination, would President Uhuru Kenyatta bring in money? The answer would be no. First, such a money will be used in an election. I doubt that Uhuru will do that because he's not running for election. But much more importantly, as a matter of substance, if Uhuru wanted to bring in money, he would use his bank. There's a family bank that he owns. So you leave him out. That leaves you with Raila Odinga and William Ruto. There are many who would eliminate Raila Odinga. First, since he's working with Uhuru Kenyatta, if he wanted to bring him in money with campaign, he will use the same approach Uhuru would have used if he brought money. Secondly, working with the system, Raila Odinga may not need the money from outside. He will have sufficient resources. And the kind of support he's receiving, for example, from Mount Kenya Mafia or the Mount Kenya Foundation, would mean he may not need money from outside. But more importantly, you will be forced to remove Raila from the list of those who will bring that kind of money to the country because of the kind of person he is. He's a man who has fought for justice, for human rights, for democracy, and generally for what is good for this country. I know people change, and therefore we could leave him on the list as a candidate merely on the basis of the fact that people do change. But if we go by people's track record, Raila is an unlikely candidate for a person to do that. And therefore, this leaves you William Samoei Ruto. By mere elimination, there's nothing concrete about it. And that's why I'm saying, since he's the one left, he must come up and explain what he does know. He should not do what Uhuru Kenyatta did with Pandora Papers. Because he said he was coming to talk about it. The thing happened when he was in America. He left it. To me, it was a simple matter he could have explained, but he chose not to. That's not good for a public figure. So William Samoei Ruto, since he's remaining on the list, he must come up and say, yes, I know eyes are on me, but everybody's wrong. I cannot do such a thing. I'm not associated with the people being peddled, social media, all the narratives about this money, associating me with these people. I'm not part of that ring. I cannot do that. I aspire to lead this country, and I cannot lead this country on a path of destruction, economic destruction. And indeed that will be the case. William Samoei Ruto campaigns on a platform of economic development. That William Samoei Ruto wants to improve the livelihoods of the people of this country. That he wants the suffering majority, the hustlers, to enjoy good life. That will be in jeopardy. Because how can you campaign on a platform of economic transformation and yet be the one to bring in a clandestine manner this amount of money? So you cannot be William Ruto. One side of the mouth you say, I want to transform the economy of this country. But on the other side, you are bringing in money that could destroy the economy. And let me explain, because the viewers who have talked to me want to find out what could happen. Simple economics 101. If you have a lot of money in circulation, first of all, money loses value, but then that creates inflation. So the cost of living will go up. And if you are the person then who intended to improve quality of life through economic transformation, then you are doing exactly the opposite. If you bring that amount of money into a small economy like this one of this country, you certainly destroy the economy. There have been attempts by gangsters and political gangsters in other countries wanting to destroy the economy of their countries as a way of fighting regimes. One of the oldest tricks these political gangsters use is to pump into the economy of those countries fake money. For example, if you brought 25 billion in cash in an economy the size of Kenya, you'll certainly distort a lot of things. So bad will this distortion be that you'll trigger inflation perhaps not seen before. Many people attribute the suffering of the 1990s, the golden bug period, to what people have said was excess printing of money, the 500 shilling bill. People say this money was printed. I do not know. But this money was printed to help Mwai to win the 1992, the first multi-party election. And that caused suffering because the economy took a beating. Coupled by the pariah status we were enjoying as a country, if you can call it enjoying, with the World Bank, IMF, and the other donors and bilateral and multilateral partners refusing to recognize us as a partner, refusing to do business with us, that pumping of excess money into the economy, coupled with that not being able to be attractive to international partners, led to the inflation of this country, the inflation in this country. Hitherto unimagined. Interest rates shot through the roofs. People stopped doing business. You didn't have to do business. What did you do? You simply put money in government treasury bills and bonds. The interests were crazy. The late Mwai Kibaki talked about. It was crazy. You put 50 billion somewhere and within a year or two, you would get almost similar amount of money. So yes, pumping liquid cash into an economy the size of this country cannot stand 25 billion. We must therefore thank the agencies. Of course, the international player, Interpol, and the local agencies. We must thank them as a country that they were able to nip this thing in the bud. That if this money had entered the economy, it could destroy this economy. And we must ask ourselves, how important is this election to these people? Assuming it's Raila Odinga who brought in that money. Assuming it's William Samoei Ruto. How important is this election to them? I will always remind politicians the words of Goodluck Jonathan after he lost his second bid for the presidency of Nigeria. He said, to paraphrase him, that there were many things I would have done to retain the presidency. That there were many people who encouraged them to do those things to remain in power. But one thing one thing informed his decision, that you could not want the presidency bad enough for you not to be touched by the consequences of your actions that could even include loss of lives. That he was not going to go for the presidency at all means, because then that would mean very ugly things will happen to the country and to the people of Nigeria. I'm just paraphrasing. I call upon leaders who want to lead this country at various levels to know country has always been and is always bigger than self. Country is always bigger than self. None of us, Raila Odinga, William Ruto, and any of us who want to be president, none of us should want the presidents so bad that they can do things that can destroy this country. Because if you pump 25 billion into the economy and nobody's there to check it, you can cause economic mayhem. You can cause bread to go for 2,000 shillings. You can cause a kilo of sugar to be 4,000 shillings. You can cause school fees to an ordinary school, not Mangu, not Lenana, not Kenya High, just an ordinary school, Kagumo High School. You can cause school fees to be 400,000 shillings. That will mean the shilling would have been devalued to a useless piece of paper. But more importantly, at that point, bad things, ugly things could happen, because then you would have pushed the citizens of the country, the vast majority who are poor, to the wall. And when pushed to the wall, you can never quite tell what would happen. So I must advise leaders not to want the president bad enough, not to want the presidency bad enough to risk destroying the same country they want to lead. But because it's so bad, I ask our top leaders to come up in the open and tell us openly that it's not them. It's in their own interest. Not just in the interest of this country. It's in the interest of the leaders I've mentioned to come out in the open and say fingers could be pointing at me. Please, that's not me. Count me out. I cannot do such a stupid thing.
The Diaspora Times is the sure way to reach the diaspora. You can advertise and link your message to a video or live coverage. We are offering special offers to politicians to advertise and expound their manifesto. Just call +404 966 8550 USA to get a quote. The one and only diaspora newspaper. Can't go wrong.
Let me end by mentioning in passing to the people who have asked me. Yes, there are issues in Azimio. Amazon King's power seem to be wanting out. There are rumors of others, coalition parties within Azimio wanting to leave. I can only ask Raila Odinga to put his house in order. I can only ask Raila Odinga to know that the election is too close for him not to mind and not to care about the wrangles within the house. The house must remain in order. It must be united, because the war that they face is not a small war. I've always sympathized with Raila Odinga. Because I don't know how he takes it that the country he has fought so hard for would do this to him. How would Raila ever have imagined that a time would come when people will be forced to pick between him and William Ruto, it must be painful indeed. But there's a war ahead for him, and he must put his house in order, because it is important to do so.